Chapter 1. Serena. My husband Bill and his beautiful assistant Doris are laughing and eating like they're on a first date. But the joke is on me. I'm here, Bill's wife, watching them from across the room, tending to my fat belly where a little life is now living. Of course, Bill doesn't know about the baby yet. The news is still fresh in my mind, barely a few hours old. It is supposed to be a family dinner gathering, but I'm never the welcome one but an outsider. Watching Bill take the steak cut and hand it over by Doris, his young age best friend who knows him the best. I guess I'm spoiling their fun by telling them now that I'm having a baby. Doris, Bill mentioned you're getting an MBA. Why don't you tell us about it? Elena, Bill's mom, says. I know this dinner isn't just a catching up. Elena wants to show off Doris, the daughter-in-law she'd rather have. Doris, with her wavy auburn hair, smiles and leans forward in her chair. It's going really well, she says, her emerald green eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. I'm learning a lot about global markets. Bill even told me I could be a great asset to his company. Right, Bill? She beams at Bill, seeking confirmation. But he's busy admiring the way she effortlessly charms everyone at the table. Absolutely. Doris has a sharp mind for business. Bill responds confidently. He's tall, with impeccably groomed blonde hair, not a strand out of place. He exudes a commanding presence, just like the CEO he is. I clench my fork a little tighter, feeling a mix of anger and helplessness. Bill never talks about my accomplishments like that. He always had an excuse. Too technical, too mundane, not worth mentioning at a family dinner. But here he is, praising Doris as if she's already part of the family. I see Bill's blue eyes, which are usually sharp and piercing, looking at Doris with a warm and gentle expression. It's quite different from how he usually looks at me. It hurts to watch them. I knew I shouldn't have come here. The waiter interrupts my thoughts, holding up an expensive bottle of wine. Ma'am, can you please get me an iced tea instead? I ask. He nods and moves away. I gently touch my belly under the table, thinking about my secret. Will anyone guess why I'm not drinking wine? Probably not. Everyone's too busy talking to Doris. I'm just here because Bill brought me along. I'm still his wife, after all. Excuse me. I need to use the bathroom, I say, standing up. For a second, everyone looks at me, but their faces aren't kind. I guess no one really cares what I do at this point. As I limp toward the bathroom, my sore knee reminds me of what happened earlier. I was so lost in thought and didn't see a bumpy part on the sidewalk. I tripped, and now my left knee throbs with pain. Great. I think I broke it. Congratulations, Serena. Dr. Sanchez told me, you're 4 weeks pregnant. Oh, that's wonderful. I say. I try to sound upbeat, but I'm not really feeling it. I wanted to keep the baby. But how can Bill and I raise a child together if he no longer loves me? What's wrong? Dr. Sanchez asked, sensing my hesitation. Well, I don't know how my husband will take it, I replied, meeting her gaze. Dr. Sanchez gave me a reassuring pat on the shoulder. It's your decision, she said, but I'd recommend discussing it with him. Now, in the bathroom, I splash my face with water, trying to think straight. Should I tell everyone about the baby at dinner? Maybe it would make them see me differently. Not just as someone who used to work for Bill, but then I remember how cold everyone was when I walked into the ballroom. Bill and his family saw me hobbling, but nobody helped or even said hello. It felt like they were ignoring me on purpose. And Bill just stared at me. Looking in the mirror, I see someone who looks like me but doesn't feel like me. We share the same features, soft brown eyes, chestnut hair in loose waves, and tiny freckles on both cheeks. But this isn't the old Serena I know. She wouldn't let anyone treat her like a doormat. When I head back to my seat, Doris suddenly steps in front of me. She trips, and the waiter, who was bringing me the iced tea I asked for, can't stop in time. The tea spills all over my white dress. Hey, watch it, Doris, I say, surprised and a bit angry. I clean the stain with my handkerchief, but it won't come off. Bill, like a knight in shining armor, quickly goes to Doris and helps her. Are you okay? He asks her. Doris starts crying and plays the victim. I'm fine. I just don't know why Serena would trip me. My face gets hot. This lying bitch is testing me. What? I didn't even touch you. Bill stares coldly at me. What's wrong with you? Apologize to her now. I can't believe he's taking her side. Are you fucking serious? I didn't do anything. If anyone should apologize, it's her for ruining my dress. Seriously, is your dress all you care about? You're so selfish. Oh, I'm selfish. You haven't even looked at me once. I didn't make a big deal out of it. You've been too busy with Doris to remember you have a wife. Now, everyone is looking at us. I don't usually share personal stuff in public, but I'm really tired of how everyone's been treating me tonight. People can stare at us for all I care. Enough. Elena yells. Stop this nonsense. If you don't apologize to Doris, then leave. I look at Bill, waiting for him to say something in my defense. He just stares at the table, letting his mom embarrass me without saying a word. I feel tears starting to form in my eyes. I've never felt so low in my life. I take a deep breath and say, okay, I don't want to cause a scene here. I'll go, Elena, if that's what you want. The waiters give me odd looks as I leave the ballroom. That's it. I've had enough. If Bill won't stand up for me, our marriage should be over. I won't even tell him about the baby. And I want a fucking divorce. Chapter 2. Serena's POV. It's funny how adrenaline can make you forget pain for a bit. As I leave the hotel, my left knee starts to sting again. Well, at least, I'm out of there. I mumble. I still hear the commotion inside. Bill's family is checking on Doris. Wow. They're overreacting. She only fell. It's not like she lost a leg. Meanwhile, I feel like I might lose mine soon. I focus on breathing to ease my pain. Distracted, I bump into a man going in the opposite direction. The slight impact causes me to stagger and wobble. Oops. Sorry. He notices I'm unsteady and holds my arm to help me balance. Careful there, I think I've seen you before. Oh, you're Serena, Bill's wife. Right, great. Another family member who might hate me. And I thought tonight couldn't get any better. Yes, that's me. I'm curious about who he is. So I look at his face. Time didn't leave overly impressive marks on this man's face, but he was noticeably elder and a bit more mature than Bill. He's a bit muscular and rocks a mullet with some stubble on his face. He's good-looking but has a more rugged style compared to Bill. He extends his hand. I'm Calvin, by the way. Calvin, you're Bill's uncle, right? Oh please. I'm just a few years older than him. He's more like a younger brother to me than a nephew. Calvin has a big stake in Bill's company, being the second largest shareholder. But he isn't really involved in the day-to-day stuff. No wonder he's barely in the family photos because he spends most of his time on his own business abroad. Bill didn't mention his busy uncle from abroad would be at dinner. But then again, Bill hardly tells me anything. Hello, you there. Calvin waves his hand in front of me to break out of my daze. I quickly regain my composure and turn away. I don't want Bill's uncle to see me looking so pitiful. Serena, are you okay? He asks, his voice filled with concern. Yes, I'm fine. You should go see your family now. I turn back to him, trying to smile even though I just cry, which might look a bit weird. I don't want to involve Calvin in this drama, so I decide to walk away from him. I stop at the side of the road to call for a taxi. It's getting colder, and I shiver as I wait for a cab to arrive. Serena, wait. Did Bill just chase after me? Maybe he does care about me, even if it's just a little bit. I turn in the direction of the voice. But it's not Bill, it's Calvin running after me. He notices me shivering and removes his suit jacket, placing it over my shoulders. You don't need to run from me. I'm not gonna bite you. I offer a weak smile and remain silent for a moment, wondering why he doesn't seem to hate me like the others. I can drive you back home if you want, he offers. With a pleading look, I respond, please. Calvin drives me home, and I appreciate that he understands I'm not really in the mood for conversation. If it were Bill in this situation, he would likely pick a fight for my silence. You know what? Why don't we play some music? Calvin suggests, sensing my mood. Sure, I say weakly. Calvin plays some soothing classical music, and we ride in silence for the rest of the journey. I simply gaze out the window with his jacket draped over my shoulders, feeling touched by his consideration. Sir Calvin, good to see you, one of our maids says as he drops me off at our home. Anne, you still look great, Calvin replies. Of course, he knows Anne. She's been with Bill's family for a long time. Could you do me a favor and get an ice pack, bandage, and some ibuprofen? I think Madame Serena here might have sprained her knee, he requests. A sprain? I thought for sure my knee was broken, I say, surprised. Okay. How does Calvin know this? He gently touches my shoulder, and I feel a strange sensation. It's as if a slight electric charge passes through me. Relax, I'm not a doctor or anything, But if your knee was really broken, you couldn't have walked away so quickly. Actually, you'd probably have trouble even standing right now. He reassures. I can't explain why I feel this way, especially since he's my husband's uncle, but there's something about his touch that's calming. Despite Calvin and I being practically strangers, it feels both strange and comforting that he's paying more attention to my well-being than Bill does. Hey, what am I thinking about? Oh, that makes sense, I quickly say. Then, I saw the tea stain on my dress. Excuse me, I need to go change. After taking a bath and changing into comfortable clothes and helps me bandage my left knee, I leave my bedroom, feeling refreshed. As I head towards the kitchen, I catch the aroma of something delicious. Calvin is in an apron, busy cooking. Hey, what are you doing? Isn't it obvious? I'm hungry, so I'm cooking, he replies. Crap. I feel a bit guilty that he missed the dinner with his family because of me. What's on the menu then? Nothing too fancy. Just some instant ramen and grilled cheese. Anyway, you can join me if you want, he says with a smile. Yeah, thanks for offering. But I'm good. My stomach growls as soon as I say that. Calvin must have heard it because he says, please. I insist. I nod, feeling a bit embarrassed. Calvin acts like he doesn't notice I'm feeling shy. You should sit down first and raise your knee. I'm almost done cooking. I take a seat in the dining room, propping my feet on another chair as I wait for Calvin. He soon comes out of the kitchen with a tray holding 2 bowls of ramen and a plate of grilled cheese sandwiches. Looks good, I say as Calvin places the food on the table. Thanks, it's all I can make, he replies. We eat quietly, enjoying the meal, you know. This reminds me of college, I comment, trying to start a conversation. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Calvin asks. It's a good thing, I reply, smiling at him. Grilled cheese and ramen are some of my go-to comfort foods when I've had a tough week. I see. So, I must be a mind reader then, Calvin says with a grin. I guess he sensed that I was having a tough day. How's your knee? It feels a lot better now. Do I need to see a doctor? Well, it's just a sprain. It should be good after a couple of days. But if it doesn't improve, yeah, you should definitely see a doctor, Calvin advises after eating. Take an ibuprofen. Okay, I say, feeling a bit lighter. This is the first time one of Bill's family members has been kind to me. I can't help but feel warm inside. Following Calvin's advice, I take an ibuprofen as soon as I finish eating. As Calvin clears the table, Bill enters the dining room. Uncle Calvin, when did you come back? Bill asks, looking a bit surprised to see him here. I thought you'd join us for dinner tonight. I respond on Calvin's behalf saying, oh, I met him at the hotel. He offered to drive me home because I was having trouble walking. Bill looks at me quietly, trying to find out whether I'm lying or not. He frowns, looking a little upset. He turns his attention to Calvin again anyway. Mum wants to see you. Calvin looks at Bill, looking like he wants to speak. Instead, he just nods and leaves quietly. Serena, Bill says. What the hell happened to your knee? Wow. Is he worried about me? That's so rare. He usually cares more about his job, family, supercars, and Doris than me. Maybe if he knows I'm having his baby, I'll win him back. Chapter 3. I thought Bill actually cared about my leg for a second there. But no, he's back to being a total dickhead. I tripped outside the hotel and I begin. You know what? It doesn't matter. Just go say you're sorry to Mom and Doris, he says, not even letting me finish, and he's doing it again, cutting me off like I'm just background noise. This is so ridiculous. Why do I even put up with him treating me like crap? Just as I'm on the verge of telling Bill that he's going to be a dad, I stop myself. I can't let our child see us fighting like this all the time. It's just not how healthy relationships are supposed to be. Honestly, I'm starting to think it might be better for me to raise our baby on my own. I lower my head and whisper, I want a divorce. It's out in the open now, there's no turning back. But, weirdly, I feel lighter, like I've been holding my breath for so long and then finally been able to let it out. Then it's just dead silent. Bill doesn't say anything for a bit, like he's trying to process what I just said. Finally, he blurts out, What? You can't be serious, with this tone of total disbelief. I look straight at Bill. He's got this look. Eyebrows all scrunched up. Yep. You heard me. I say, extra clear this time. I want a divorce. I make sure to hit every word hard, so there's no mistaking what I'm saying. I've given it my all in this relationship. Heck, I even lowered my pride to put up with Bill's family. But let's face it, It's beyond repair now. Plus, Bill's got his sights set on someone else. He made that pretty clear at the dinner tonight. Bill lets out a heavy sigh. He looks like he's gonna blow up, but he's holding it back. Stop saying stupid shit right now. There's no debate here. Bill, I'm done, I respond. And now we're locked in a staring contest. I refuse to be intimidated. You're acting like a child, Serena, Bill says, losing his patience. Classic Bill. Always thinking I'm the immature one in our fights, you see. He always plays the Mr. CEO card, like he's the one who's always right. Trying to reason with him is like talking to a brick wall. It's just beyond frustrating. But unlike before, I can't just let him win this time. I think 3 years are enough. Bill, alright, here it goes. All the crap I've had to put up with from Bill and his family. It's about time I tell him how belittled I feel when his family acts like I'm just his assistant who's after his money. And Bill, not giving me the time of day, even flirting with Doris right in front of me. As I prepare my speech in my head, Bill's phone rings. Oh God, what is it this time? Bill picks up, but he's still looking at me. Mom, he answers, of course. He's putting other people ahead of me again. While Bill's on the call, I've already forgotten the rant I was planning just a few minutes ago. Alright, Mom, bye, Bill says, and he hangs up. I glare at him, seething with anger. I know his tactic all too well. He's not going to let me finish what I was about to say. I need to take care of the proposal for Johnson and Inc. tomorrow. Bill explains Mum had a look at it and said it wasn't good enough. As much as I want to speak my mind, I overheard at dinner that this deal with Johnson and Inc. is worth millions. I can't afford to mess with Bill's head right now. I'm still mad at him, but I don't want him to look bad in front of his investors. Well then, fix the damn proposal. I say I'll wait here. Bill crosses his arms, looking like he's mulling over my next move. It's like every conversation with him is a chess match. And he's always the one who needs to win. I don't think we need to have this conversation again, he says, holding a stern gaze. Look, just apologize, and we can all move on and let's forget about you mentioning divorce. The way he says the word divorce, it's like he's scoffing at the idea. He's not taking me seriously at all. You're a jerk, you know that. I mutter, my voice trembling with rage. Tears well up in my eyes. Yeah, I've heard that one before, Bill says, brushing me off. Let's just call it a night. We're both just tired. Bill studies my face as I stay quiet. I'm avoiding letting my tears fall in front of him. That would only feed his ego. He finally leaves and makes his way to our room. I asked him for the key to one of our guest rooms. I'm not sharing a bed with him tonight. Sex isn't going to fix this marriage. I lay my head on the pillow and think of how much I sacrificed to make things work with Bill. I'd be lying if I said I don't love him anymore. But there's just so much I can take. We'd always encourage each other to do our best. I loved how passionate he was about his job. And he was all about mine too. But things changed after we got married. I let him take control of my life. Maybe that was partly my fault, he says. You don't need to work anymore. I'll take care of you. And he did. He made sure I had all the fancy stuff his money could buy. But when it came to showing love and giving attention, he was pretty stingy. Bill's right. I'm tired. I can't keep letting him off the hook for just doing the bare minimum. Actually, I thought about divorcing him for a while now. But to him, it all seems like one big joke. Chapter 4. Bill's POV. I find myself staring at the door, just waiting for Serena to come into our room. The truth is, I didn't actually need to work on the Johnson and M proposal. I just needed a reason to get Serena to stop bringing up divorce. But now, here I am, typing away on my laptop, writing the same words over and over to look busy. I don't get why Serena was being so damn irrational. First, she threw a tantrum at dinner, embarrassing herself in front of everyone. Then she goes and accuses me of ignoring her just because I was chatting with Doris. And now, out of the blue, she was talking about wanting a divorce. Something's not adding up here. Serena wasn't like this before we got married. One thing I always admired about her was how she stayed calm and wise, even under pressure. It's like a switch flipped in her head, and now she's a totally different person. Is it because I don't give her enough of my time? I knew I had become more busy after we got married. I promised to take care of her, and I think I've done a decent job at that. My company is now worth billions of dollars because of effort and focus I've put in. I just don't want Serena to feel like she's in a sinking ship, like what happened with her dad's company. I don't want her to have to struggle like she did before. Sometimes I wish she didn't always see me as the bad guy here. I'm not big on talking, but if it means we need to see a marriage counselor to open up more, I'm willing to give it a shot with her. But I can't figure out why she's got a problem with Doris. A few weeks back, I realized Doris was my childhood friend. I noticed she was wearing the seashell bracelet I gave her after she saved me from those bullies at the beach. I sometimes catch myself thinking, what if Serena was more like Doris? She understands that I have a lot on my plate. Doris also never expects more than I'm able to give, and she's been quite helpful in assisting me with business matters. And like Doris, Serena would start these silly arguments out of nowhere. I guess she wanted my full attention. But with all the craziness at work, the last thing I need is feeling like I have to babysit someone at home too. I wait a little longer for Serena to come in. Maybe if I fuck her good tonight, she'd shut up about divorcing me. But she doesn't show up. It looks like I'll be spending the night alone. Tomorrow's agenda is packed with an important meeting, and I have to visit Mom as well. Dealing with Serena will have to wait. Whenever I pull up to Mom's house, it never fails to impress me. The mansion shows off our family's wealth. Amid well-kept gardens, the driveway, a long stretch of perfectly laid cobblestone, leads up to the main entrance. The grounds are filled with artistic sculptures and a fountain that looks straight out of a luxury magazine. As I'm about to enter, I run into Calvin on his way out. Uncle Calvin, I say, is Mom inside? Oh, hey Bill, he replies, attempting a smile. Yeah. By the way, I need to go. There are some urgent business matters I have to attend to. What's the hurry? Join us for brunch. I invite. I don't want to overstay my welcome here. He looks at me still. Bill, your family needs your care. Your family members. My family. Am I missing something? You sound like you're a stranger. You know your mom's favorite brother, right? I say to him. Half-brother. But yeah, I appreciate that. He chuckles. Anyway, I should get going. See you later then, I say, bidding him farewell. There's no point in asking him to stay. After all, he's got his own empire to run. He's the owner of Deep Horizon Industries, a European conglomerate with famous brands under its umbrella. While I was hustling to become a billionaire, he was already there just waiting for me. I'm sure if my companies were put in a bad place, Calvin's would back me up without a second thought. That's just the kind of guy he is, deeply loyal to his family. I watch as Calvin drives his McLaren out of the mansion without looking back. For some reason, I have a feeling he's avoiding me. But why? I remember walking in on him and Serena having dinner last night. Serena just looks so carefree. It's been a while since I saw her smile like that. I couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at the scene. What on earth did Calvin say to make her grin like that? I clench my fist, wanting to punch something. But honestly, I can't quite put my finger on why I'm so mad right now. Maybe it's because Serena is bringing up divorce. I'm still upset about Serena dragging me into marrying her. She's smart and beautiful, no doubt about that. But I wasn't sure if liked her romantically. Her evil scheme made it hard for me to trust her. Even now, I'm unsure about her true intentions. Then it hit me. She might just want a big payout from the divorce settlement. What a clever girl. I think about my net worth, and she could easily walk away with around $100 to $300 million from me. My mum warns me to be careful around Serena. I always defended my wife and gave her the benefit of the doubt. But now that my companies are doing really well, I can't help but think she might be planning to divorce me at the perfect moment. I'll play along, but I won't make it easy for her. If she wants to divorce me, she have to play by my rules. And who knows? Maybe she eventually realized that her plan to divorce me is a big mistake. I smirk, imagining the look on Serena's face as she begs for a second chance. She come crawling back to me when I start acting cold. It works every time. No wonder Calvin wants to get out of Mom's house. Aunt Claire and Doris are here. Calvin has always been an introvert. Dealing with gossip, especially the kind involving women, has never been his cup of tea. Meanwhile, I can handle it better than him. The women are already enjoying a lavish brunch when I come in. The table is a showcase of gourmet delights. There's a charcuterie board at one end of the table, neatly arranged with various cheeses, an assortment of cured meats, and fresh fruits. Taking center stage on the table is a seafood tower. It's filled with lobster tails, jumbo prawns, and oysters that glisten against the light. As soon as Doris sees me, her face breaks into a warm, welcoming smile. She's wearing a stylish, designer denim jacket paired with a white t-shirt and jeans. Doris has a knack for making even casual clothes look elegant. She carries herself with such grace that she could be mistaken for a runway model, no matter what she's wearing. I greet Mum and Aunt Claire before I turn my attention to Doris, looking great, as always. Doris, I say, my smile broadening. Sorry, I had to leave early last night. Had to check up on Serena. Mum rolls her eyes when I mention Serena. She just had to make a scene, she remarks with clear disapproval. Before I can respond, Doris speaks up. It's my fault, Elena. I should have been more careful. Doris glances down quickly, maybe to hide what's going on behind her eyes. Her hands fidget together in her lap, a clear sign of her unease. Mum puts her hand on Doris' shoulder, offering some reassurance. You don't have to take the blame, dear. It's all that girl's fault. Honestly, Bill, I don't know what you saw in her, Mum says with a disdainful tone. She's a good seductress. I'll give her that. Aunt Claire chimes in. I'm curious about her secret. Maybe it'll work on my husband too. Mum and Aunt Claire share a laugh as if they're in on an inside joke. Ladies, be nice, I interject with a light tone. You don't really know Serena that well. Disrespectful, that's what she is, Mom says, still holding a grudge. Not letting you tell your own mother about your wedding. Can you believe that? Her words reveal her lingering bitterness about being left out of our wedding. Doris and I share a quick look. I subtly shake my head, signaling her not to mention the Vegas wedding. She nods slightly in agreement. It's a secret just between Serena, Doris, and me. If Mom finds out, she would only hate Serena more. I can't imagine how she'd react to her billionaire son having a tacky wedding. Anyway, I apologize on behalf of Serena, I say, attempting to smooth things over. She shouldn't have acted that way. I think she's just really stressed out. Stressed out, Mom says, sounding surprised. Why would she be? She's got it easy with all your money. Mum has a point. I find myself wondering what's really keeping Serena on edge. What is she not telling me? I'm starting to think that maybe her asking for a divorce is more than just a hissy fit. Bill. Doris's voice cuts through my thoughts, bringing me back to the present. Are you okay? Forcing a smile, I try to appear composed. Yeah, I respond. I was just preoccupied with the Johnson and meeting later, actually. I was thinking of bringing you along. Would you be up for that? Doris's face breaks into a beaming grin. Knowing her, she's probably already familiar with the proposal's details. I'm pretty sure she'd be a great backup in closing that huge deal. Sounds exciting. Count me in, Doris says. While we're eating, my phone suddenly rings. It's Serena. What now? Pushing my chair back, I stand up. Excuse me, I have to take this, I say, stepping away from the table to answer the call. Bill, we need to talk. Serena cuts straight to the chase. She didn't even say hello. I'm not joking about the divorce. I want to talk to a lawyer to draw up the papers as soon as possible. Oh, no. Not this again. I'm in Mom's house. Can we talk about this later? I ask, trying to keep my voice even. I rub my temple as I feel a headache starting to creep up. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Mom and Doris watching me. It can't wait. I'm just tired of you putting me behind everything else. Serena insists. Her voice is trembling. I take a deep breath, feeling the heat rising to my face. You can't just put me on the spot like this. What if I was in a meeting? I say, a bit louder than I intended. My voice is getting harder to control, and I can tell from the corner of my eye that Mum has figured out I'm talking to Serena. Is she bothering you, Bill? Mum asks. She raises her voice deliberately, ensuring it's audible on the other end of the phone. Really, that woman has some nerve. No sense of decency at all. She comments loudly, making sure Serena catches every word. There's a moment of silence on the other end of the line. I can sense that Mom's words have struck Serena deeply, cutting through her like a knife. Serena, I call out. There's a short beep, and then the call abruptly ends. Wow. Did she really just hang up on me? I close my eyes and take a deep breath. It's the first time she's ever hung up on me. I approach the table. Everyone's looking at me, waiting for me to say something. I have to go. I need to prepare for the meeting. Doris looks worried. Oh, should I come with you? No, you can come in later. I'll just see you at the office, I reply. It's not that I don't want her to join me, but I could use the drive alone to clear my head. What game is Serena playing? She's well aware of what's at stake today. Yet, she distracts me with all this nonsense about drawing up divorce papers. What the fuck is that all about? Why does Elena always see me as the villain? No matter what I do, angry. I slam the phone on the bed after hanging up on Bill. It lands with a muffled thud, bouncing twice on the soft duvet. Thankfully, it doesn't hit the floor and break. Bill's mom bad-mouthing me just makes me hate our marriage even more. She thinks I'm indecent because I'm not rich like Doris. What about her precious son? He's no saint. He's the furthest thing from it. For the past 3 years of being married to Bill, I've taken so much crap from his family. I don't think he's oblivious to it all. He just watches me, like the cuck he is, as I get insulted again and again. Don't even get me started on Doris. She parades around with this facade of being well-educated and classy. But it's all just a mask. When that mask comes off, what's revealed is her true nature. Cunning and malicious. But she only acts this way with me, not with Bill or his family. Perhaps Doris knows she doesn't need to impress me. In her eyes, I'm just a rival for Bill's love and attention. I can tell you about a bunch of times when she showed her true colors. Like this one time, I decided to surprise Bill with a homemade lunch at his office. When I got there, Doris was hovering near his desk. As soon as she saw me, her eyes narrowed. "Oh, what's this, playing the doting wife now?" she sneered, barely glancing at the carefully packed meal in my hands. Bill usually prefers eating out, at places with actual chefs. Trying to keep my cool, I reply, "Well, I thought a homemade meal would be nice for a change." Doris laughed mockingly. She said, "Sure, if you think he'd appreciate that, but between us, I doubt he'd want to trade his gourmet salads and Wagyu steak for whatever that is." I clenched the lunch bag tightly, really wanting to slap Doris for her nasty words. I remembered I was at Bill's office. Making a scene here would look bad for him, and I didn't want that. So, I just put the lunch bag on Bill's desk, trying to ignore Doris. It felt like losing a little, showing her she got to me. That I chose to stay calm and not stoop to her level. The saddest thing is if I shared this story with anyone, they'd probably just think I'm jealous of Doris. It seems like no one would believe me over her. In their eyes, I'm just Bill's disgruntled wife. I'm done playing everyone else's games. If Bill prefers his work and Doris's company over our marriage, then so be it. I'm out of here. I hastily grab a suitcase and begin to pack all my belongings. My eyes scan the closet, filled mostly with designer dresses and high-end accessories I had acquired for those countless fancy occasions with Bill. Yet, as I look at them now, they feel more like costumes than treasures, symbols of a life that never really fit me. I decide to leave them behind. Untouched, packing only the essentials, I realize how little there is that truly belongs to me in this opulent but empty space. As I fold my clothes, a thought crosses my mind. Bill rarely gave me anything personal, anything that showed he knew me. He just handed me a platinum credit card once, with a nonchalant instruction to knock myself out. After packing, I picked up my phone with a clear purpose. I called Grace, my old landlady. I dialed, my fingers trembling slightly with each number. "Hello, Grace, it's Serena. I was wondering, is my old apartment still available?" I asked, hopeful yet uncertain. Grace's voice was warm and surprised. "Serena. Well, yes, it's available, but I have much nicer places now, especially for someone like you." I knew she was referring to my status as a billionaire's wife. But that life was what I was trying to leave behind. "No, Grace, I want my old place. It's what I need right now." There was a pause and then Grace's voice softened. "All right, dear, if you're sure, it's yours." I felt the weight lift off my chest. "Thank you, Grace." As I sit in the taxi, leaving the upscale neighborhood behind, I start to see the changes through the window. The polished, ground houses give way to simpler, smaller homes. The streets get busier and more lively. I notice more small shops and fewer fancy boutiques. The people seem different too. More relaxed, just going about their day. It's like moving from one world to another, from luxury to the everyday. And it feels more real. More like the life I used to know. At the door of my old apartment, Grace looks at me, waiting for my reaction. "So, this is it. What do you think?" she asks. I look around at the familiar place. It's smaller than I remember, but it feels welcoming. The walls remind me of a simpler, happier time. "It feels like coming home," I say, feeling a mix of happy and calm. The place isn't fancy, but it feels right. I step inside, ready to start fresh. I look around. There's a crack in the ceiling I don't remember, and my old sofa, now a bit more worn. I noticed things that weren't mine. Different curtains and new books on the shelf. It's clear others have lived here after me. Once I had settled into my old apartment, I knew it was time for the next big step. I picked up my phone, my heart heavy with the decision I was about to make. Dialing a number I found online. I waited for the other end to connect. Hello. Is this Marquez and Garcia Associates? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. A receptionist answered, her voice professional and courteous. Yes, ma'am. How may we assist you? Taking a deep breath, I found the courage to say the words that would change my life forever. I need your help drawing up divorce papers.